The tension between Chris Fletcher and Nell Fletcher becomes very clear during this moment on Love and Marriage Huntsville. The conversation is not about gossip or drama, it is about money, pressure, and responsibility. Nell is clearly frustrated, and her words show that this has been building for a long time. She explains that Chris needs to return to real estate because his situation is now affecting the entire household. Her tone shows that she feels overwhelmed. She's thinking about the kids, the grandkids, and even her father. All of that responsibility sits on her shoulders. In her mind, she is carrying emotional pressure and financial pressure at the same time, and she feels like nobody truly sees how heavy that load is. Chris responds in a very different way. He says that of course he cares about the situation and that the problem bothers him just as much as it bothers her. But he explains that he cannot sit around crying or showing stress. In his mind, the father figure in the house must stay strong. He believes that if he breaks down in front of the family, it sends the message that everything is falling apart. That idea is important because it shows how he sees his role. He believes strength means staying calm and not letting emotions take over. This creates a difference between the two of them. Nell wants emotion and reassurance, while Chris believes calm behavior shows leadership. The issue becomes more serious when the topic of Chris losing his real estate license comes up. Real estate was not just a side job for him, it was a major source of income for the family. When that license was taken away, it did not only hurt his pride, it changed the financial structure of their home. Nell understands that change immediately. She knows that if the income from real estate disappears, the family must find another way to keep money coming in. That is why she asks Chris a very direct question. She asks how he plans to replace that income so they do not have to pull money from the daycare business. The daycare is very important to Nell. It is not just another business. It is something she built from the ground up. She started it when she was only 19 years old. For her, the daycare represents stability. It represents years of hard work and sacrifice. When she asks Chris about a plan, she is not just asking about money, she is asking about security. She wants to know that there is a strategy in place before they start touching the income from her business. Chris gives an answer that increases the tension in the room. He says there is no clear plan right now and that some money may need to come from the daycare until he gets back on his feet. In Chris's mind, this makes sense. He sees marriage as a shared system where both partners help each other when something goes wrong. He reminds Nell that they have multiple businesses. They have the cleaning company, and she is preparing to launch another venture called Posh and Pretty. He believes the purpose of having several businesses is to create safety. If one income stream slows down, another one should be able to support the family. But Nell hears something very different in his words. Instead of hearing safety, she hears risk. To her, the daycare is the strongest and most stable business they have. It has supported the family for years. Using it to cover another problem feels dangerous to her. That is why she asks a question that changes the direction of the conversation. She asks Chris if he has ever thought about partnering with someone else in the daycare business. At first, that question might seem simple, but it carries deeper meaning. Nell is pointing out that Chris does not actually own part of the daycare. She reminds him that while they are partners in life, she does not have ownership in his real estate brokerage. That statement brings up a deeper issue about fairness and control. If she does not own part of his business, then why should her business automatically become the backup plan when his income disappears? Chris quickly responds by explaining that the situations are different. According to him, real estate requires special licenses and certifications. You cannot simply own a real estate brokerage without meeting those requirements. He points out that Nell does not have those credentials. In his view, that is why she cannot be part owner of his brokerage. He believes the structure of the real estate industry makes that impossible. Nell listens, but she is not convinced. She flips the argument in a calm but firm way. She explains that while she may not have the real estate credentials, Chris does not have the same level of experience in childcare that she has. She has been in that industry since she was 19 years old. She knows the business inside and out. She can run it with her eyes closed. Her message is clear. Expertise matters in both industries. Just like she cannot step into his brokerage without knowledge, he cannot treat her daycare like a simple safety net without respecting the years she spent building it. This moment highlights a theme that often appears in entrepreneurial marriages. When both partners have businesses, the lines between personal life and business life can become blurred. A husband and wife may feel united emotionally, but their companies might still be separate legal entities. If those boundaries are not clearly discussed, misunderstandings can appear during stressful moments. For Chris, the loss of his license is more than a financial issue. Real estate gave him status and identity. It showed that he was capable and successful. Losing that license may make him feel like he lost part of his professional identity. That is one reason he refuses to show weakness. If he lets himself fully feel the setback, he might worry that it will affect his confidence. For Nell, the daycare represents something equally powerful. It is proof that she built something valuable with her own effort. It supported the family through many years. When Chris talks about using the daycare money as a temporary solution, she fears that the stability she created could be damaged. Her reaction is not only about the numbers, it is about protecting something that represents decades of hard work. Another issue in the conversation is communication style. Nell expresses stress openly. She says she feels overloaded and that nobody seems to notice how much she is carrying. She wants acknowledgement. She wants someone to recognize the weight she feels every day. Chris handles stress differently. Instead of talking about it, he keeps it inside. He believes staying calm is the best way to protect the family. When he avoids emotional conversations, Nell may interpret that behavior as indifference. Meanwhile, Chris may believe he is doing the responsible thing by staying composed. Financial uncertainty adds another layer to the conflict. Even in strong marriages, money problems can create serious tension. When a major income stream disappears and there's no clear backup plan, anxiety naturally grows. Nell wants to see a roadmap. She wants to know exactly how they will move forward. Chris believes the situation is temporary. He thinks he can correct the problem, regain his license, and continue working. From his perspective, there is no reason to panic. But optimism alone does not always calm someone who is worried about financial security. Without a clear strategy, hope can sound like avoidance. The daycare also carries emotional meaning for Nell because it may have supported the family during earlier stages of their lives. Many family businesses become symbols of survival. They remind people of difficult times they managed to overcome. That emotional history can make the business feel almost sacred. Suggesting that its funds should be used to fix another problem may feel like threatening the foundation of the household. Chris believes marriage means sharing both success and hardship. If one partner falls, the other partner steps in to help. In his mind, that is what partnership looks like. He likely believes he would do the same for Nell if their roles were reversed. But the conversation shows that they never clearly defined how their businesses should interact. Are the companies separate, or are they part of one shared financial system? Without that agreement, both partners start making assumptions. The topic of pride also appears in Chris's words. When he says he cannot cry in front of the family, it shows how he sees masculinity and responsibility. Many men grow up believing they must always appear strong and stable. Showing fear or sadness may feel like losing authority. However, emotional openness can also build trust. If Nell saw Chris express his worries more honestly, she might feel less alone in her stress. On the other hand, Chris might interpret Nell's constant concern as a lack of belief in his ability to recover. The family structure adds more complexity. They mention children and grandchildren, which means their household includes multiple generations. That increases financial pressure. There are more people who depend on stability. Losing a major income source in that situation can feel very serious. Chris talks about the cleaning company and the new business ventures as proof that they have options. But new businesses often take time before they produce strong profits. The daycare may currently be the most stable income source they have. That is why Nell wants to protect it carefully. At the heart of the disagreement is a simple but powerful question. Are they operating as one financial unit with shared risk, or are they two business owners who happen to be married? The answer to that question will shape how they move forward. Nell reminds Chris that everyone in Huntsville knows about her daycare and respects the work she has done. Her reputation is important. In business, reputation can be as valuable as money. She wants to protect the credibility she built over many years. Chris also values professional recognition. His real estate career gave him respect and visibility in the community. Losing his license may affect how people see him. That pressure may not always be spoken out loud, but it can still affect his emotions. The timing of the crisis makes everything harder. If the license was revoked suddenly, there may not have been time to build financial reserves. When emergencies happen without preparation, families often feel forced to make quick decisions. The healthiest solution for their situation would likely involve clear communication and planning. If the daycare provides temporary support, there should be clear agreements about how that money will be repaid. Creating structure can prevent future resentment. Financial advisors or business